there's two lessons. It's a dual epigram. Tell the truth and don't be afraid. But really, the biggest lesson in my career, and when people say, "What, you know, geez, you've been so successful," which is totally relative. You know, it's like success. It's a very relative thing. I know some people who no one has ever heard of, and they have never made a penny from music, but they make great music, and they're very successful at that. Understanding what your function is in the process and giving everything you have to that is the absolute most important thing. If I'm engineering, I want to make sure that I do it absolutely the best I can. If I'm producing, if I'm playing, if I'm mastering for somebody, I do a lot of mixing. When I'm mixing, just really concentrating on the task at hand, and remember that you're there to help these people's dreams come to life. And it's a very precious and sacred thing. I take it very seriously. More seriously than my clients sometimes. The record business is the record business. And I hate people who badmouth the record business and then sort of try to reap the benefits of it, because it's a waste of time also. You make your own karma to a certain degree. That said, and I have a lot of people who are record labels, who are friends of mine, who are really, they try to do the right thing. And they're not bad people. But the record business in general is one that's sort of based, the entertainment business in general is based on sham and pretense, you know. And that's one of the negatives, you know, just sort of the flash, cash, and trash nature of things, and the temporal nature of things, where in modern society, your shit is around for 5 minutes at a time, and you better come up with something really great for the next 5 minutes, or no one's going to want to hear from you again. That's, you know, that's nature. That's the way it is. The way that success in the record business has come down as a paradigm and how to get there is very prescribed these days and very difficult. You really need to have a big radio record if you want to sell records. So, and that's about the only way that the big part of the machine knows how to do it. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but you can understand the limitations of it. There's not room for a lot of people in that thing, as well as the people who get there are decided by sometimes things other than a lot of people like the music. Sometimes a computer. On the other hand, if I owned a radio station, and not me in the person I am now, if I was a person who owned a radio station, your job, you're running a business. If someone came to me and said, I have a computer model here about how you can run your business, meaning what you play on the radio, because that's what they do. They play people like 10 seconds of all these different songs, and whatever they respond best to, the computer takes and makes a model of what they should be playing. 10 seconds. Yeah. So, but if I was a radio station owner, I'm in business so the business can prosper. The way you prosper is to sell more advertising. The way you get more money for your advertising is by saying, I reached this many people. And if you reach twice that many people, you get more money for your advertising. So if someone came along with a computer model and said, if you follow this model, your business will grow and you make more money, I don't know if I would say no. You know, I can't blame them. That brings me to the big question of, is it possible to have a viable business that is run in a way because people love music? You know, and take it from that point of view rather than, okay, if we play this, people will listen more. You know, it's, well, no, if we play what we love and we play this or that because we think it's really good music, will we get enough people to listen to keep the business going? You know, so, but in this part of the 21st century, everything's become sort of hyper-realized, where the old paradigms of both progress and operations, how things operate, have become very, very accelerated and very finely tuned into one particular aim or goal. So things move much faster than they ever used to because of computers now also. When there's, in the old days, if there was an advancement, somebody discovered penicillin, and then you'd have to wait a while, somebody build upon that and discover something else, and then they discover something else and something else. Because of computers now, when there is a new piece of knowledge, it kind of shoots off in all directions at the same time and very, very quickly. So that's just part of the whole thing about how business and technology have all become hyper-focused in towards whatever they're doing, but it's sort of a really narrow focus rather than a broad one. Excuse me for a second, I'm sorry. What I like to see doesn't mean shit to anybody. You know, it's fine. I don't really talk about that much. I kind of try to take reality as it is and see what I can do with that. You know, you talk about what I'd like to see. I'd like to see people in the world stop killing each other, stop hacking each other to pieces, stop blowing each other up. That's important. The other shit is just, you know. I've had to adopt an attitude towards the music business that's very much like that. It's not about what I like or don't like. It's about, gee, isn't that interesting how that works now? Even when MIDI first came in, a lot of very traditional musicians and sequencing and stuff, because I've been around a lot of very trained musicians, you know, guys who could sight read fly shit and make it sound good right away. And there was a lot of grumbling. Well, that's not music. They don't know music. You know, they're just entering it in one note at a time, even though it comes out like music. Well, to me, that was like, wow, that's really interesting. It's a totally different way of doing things. I came from a place where, when I was doing TV music, that you had to score it out, copy out the parts for the players, set them down on the music stand in the studio, and it better be pretty good just by the second take, you know. So it's not so much what I would like to see, it's sort of, gee, this is the way it's going, isn't that interesting, and do I want to partake? And I've managed to keep myself interested up through this point. There's a lot of major changes going on right now in studio technology and how records are made. Everybody can afford a Pro Tools system for their living room now. So the nature of recording studios and what they are is changing radically. And I still work in a lot of the big rooms. I'm one of the last guys who gets paid a lot to go up to the big rooms with the big console, and I have many more racks like this of all sorts of analog toys and old equalizers and mix records that way. At the same time, a lot of people, because Pro Tools and hard disk recording systems now sound pretty good enough, and there's just been a change over the last couple of years that really sort of upped the sonic ante. Here, with my good monitors, with the monitors I know really well, and the right computer system, I can mix a record here. And it's sort of defined by the financial restraints of the project. But that's real interesting to me. I could have said, oh, this is, you know, I don't want to do it this way. But there was something, I said to myself, gee, why don't you try to get really good at this? Because it's hard, it's harder, it's a different way of doing things. So I've been spending the last 6 or 8 months trying to get real good at this. I've been mixing a bunch of records here, some stuff for Common, Yerba Buena, some stuff for Tip's new record. So it's been really interesting. So again, it's not so much what I would like to see, it's sort of how I see it, what I see happening, and whether or not I feel like participating. And as long as, I have a feeling, as long as there are people who are really passionate about their dreams through music and do things in a compelling way, like what I said before, it doesn't matter whether you like it, but if it's compelling, you think, wow, that's heavy. I'll stay around as long as that's around.